Hey everybody, welcome back to JG3 Reviews. I wanted to do another quick review of a pen that's been in my collection for a long time. You've seen it back there on that pen rest, but I've never actually shared it with you here on the channel. Why? I do not know, because this is one of my absolute favorite pens. This is a Birmingham pen company, as you can see engraved into the resin of this pen, and it is their 6th Avenue model of fountain pen. This is a hand-turned pen from Pennsylvania, and they do terrific work. A lot of you know their inks quite well, and I really enjoy Birmingham Pen Company's inks, but this pen is my favorite thing that I've bought from Birmingham Pens. Now, you kind of have to watch. It's good to subscribe to their email list because they put out their pens just every now and then. They'll do a batch of pens, and I just happened to catch this one at just the right time. I was actually shooting for a blue one, and you've noticed there's a blue one back there, but I missed it. This was years ago, and it just didn't act fast enough. I didn't know how fast you had to act in order to get in on one of their pen sales. And so I quote-unquote settled for this Eye of Sauron resin, but I can't call this a settling at all. Just look at the flames in this resin. This is absolutely one of those pens. You can't use it at work. It'll distract you. It'll distract everybody else. I just use it here at the pen desk because it's too distracting to keep on my desk at work. It's just absolutely fantastic. Now, the design of the pen is quite simple. It has a flat, polished end, just a very slight taper out to the end of the cap, and then tapering down again to, again, just a polished, smooth end. Very simple design, very good in the hand. It's a big pen too. We'll see that in the size comparison, but it's not a heavy pen. Just, I'm telling you, the polish work on this is so well done. It's just a pleasant pen to write with, and a hard one to put down. You look for excuses to write notes with this pen. The threading is done very well. I've never actually counted. Let's kind of use that flame there as our count. So that would be, there's the same flame, 1 and about 1 1/4. I'm going to call it 1 1/4. It may be a little bit off from that. It's hard to count on this pen, but very quick on, very good, smooth threads. You can see inside that cap. I don't have dry out problems with this pen at all, just really reliable. And then, as you can see, a nice long grip section with a nice shape to it. It tapers down here, and then when it flares out, it does that very smoothly, and it gives you, at least for me, just a perfect sweet spot. Those threads and the drop down are not badly done at all. They're nice and smooth, but you don't feel them when you're gripping this pen. They're far enough back to be completely out of the way and out of mind. And this is just, I would consider it among, I have a few pens that I think, even though their grips are not the same, they're perfect ergonomically for me. And this is one of those pens. To hold this pen is just incredible. It just writes so well. The balance is nice. It's a long pen. There's no need to post it, although if you really want to, you can. And it's not even back-weighted badly at all when you do that. Just very, very good ergonomically. And I think it's just, for me, a Goldilocks pen when it comes to the grip and the weight and the balance. Now, I'm going to guess you've already noticed that big number 6 nib, and this is a Nimacine nib made in Germany with really terrific nib decoration on it. I liked this so much that when my Diplomat Arrow found its way to the kitchen tile floor and I looked at replacing it with a new nib unit, I decided instead to just do a nib swap. And I actually have a Nimacine medium nib, and I was skeptical that it could be as good as the Diplomat Arrow nib was on this pen because I loved that nib, and this is absolutely as good, and I couldn't be more pleased with what that's done for my Diplomat Arrow. You can get these from their website. This is the 0.8 stub, and I really like it because it's just broad enough that it writes kind of like a broad, but with line variation, and it makes for a neat pen to write with. It's probably a little bit more useful than wider stubs, more use cases, and I really find the nib as well excellently ground and perfectly reliable, and looks good on the pen too. Now you open the pen up and you will find a matching ink in mine, which you might have already known anyway, right? And that is a Schmidt converter. So that works quite well. It is international standard, long or short compatible, no issue there. And you probably, I would recommend an O-ring, but you probably could eyedropper this, but I just don't bother. I just use the converter. I really like the simplicity of the design and the quality of the work, and the combination of those two things just makes this a favorite pen of mine. All right, and for our size comparison today, we have, of course, that 6th Avenue pen. And as I said, it's a big pen, but it's not like a Ranga Splendor. I have one of those here too, just in case you're wondering what that size comparison looks like. It kind of dwarfs that pen. But because of its diameter, it does feel like a larger pen than even perhaps it is. So here is that Jinhao X159. A lot of you have those pens, and it's slightly longer, but you can see that the diameter there is about the same. And then a Memento Zero in the Hawaii resin, and then the TWSBI Eco. And diameter-wise, these are all similar, the Eco there being the narrowest of the pens. All right, these pens are even at the end of the barrel, and then you can see that it and the Eco are about the same length. That Jinhao X159 becomes the shorter pen, and the Memento Zero about the same as that. And here are the pens in their posted lengths, again, even here at the end, and then you can see, in this case, it is just slightly longer than that Eco posted and becomes the longest pen of the group. All right, now for a quick writing test if we don't get too distracted by the resin. Okay, so this is again a 0.8 millimeter stub nib. It is made by Nimacine. Ink Today. Monteverde. Mandarin Orange. And I will review this ink in a separate video. It's one that I like this time of year. Wetness is quite good. No problems there whatsoever. Now, being a 0.8, your line variation is not as great, obviously. That's just math. But it's still there. So your downstroke, nice and wide. Your side stroke, nice and thin, and so then you end up with some neat variation, which I like. And I really like the combination of this ink and this pen. Just suits each other well, and it suits that nib well. As I said, just such a pleasant pen to write with. The nib is ground well, the grip is perfect, the balance is good. I like it. Let's do our speed test right quick. Now, I don't know if I've done this very often on a stub, but you need to, and it could be interesting. So let's try this out. Real time. Maybe the hardest part here is the discipline to keep James's hand even, right? All right, I know this. I turned. I felt it. I felt it turn. There was something in here, and I don't know if that was me or the pen. I think it was probably me again. It's at the exact same spot. That's kind of funny. Everything else was fine. So ink flow, I can tell you already, ink flow on this pen is terrific, which you need with a stub nib, even if it's a small stub nib. So that is great. I like the way that it showcases this nice, vibrant ink, and just absolutely a terrific pen. So if you ever get to see one of those good deals on a Birmingham pen, grab it while you can. The last one I got was a clearance thing that they were doing, and that was this really beautiful blue, kind of like a galaxy resin, and that was worth waiting for and worth pouncing on. It was a really good deal. I don't remember what it was, but it was a really good deal, and so was this one. So just, keep your eyes out. They do that every now and then, and when they do, you get a pen that you will be proud to have in your collection. Birmingham Pen Company. They don't pay me, but I have certainly paid them lots of ink and a couple of pens. But I like what they do. They do good work. And thank you once again for all your feedback, for sharing and subscribing. And God bless you, and I hope you have a really great week.